Okay, so I'm Ellie Owens. I'm a product manager at T-Mobile, as Brian just mentioned. A little bit about me. I'm Ukrainian, and that's why you hear my accent. One of the things that I need to say, I came back from my vacation last week, and during my vacation time, I went to Burning Man for the second time. Has anybody heard what Burning Man is? Okay, there's half. Sweet. Okay, so we will say I come back from to default life because it's very different there. And I don't do drugs. I drink very little alcohol, and it's still super fun. That's not the only thing you do there. In fact, what I did with my team this year is, so we don't have to turn, oh, music still works. This is a little video. Basically, you get the gist. It's an art installation. It's 11 feet tall, 16 feet wide, and it combines the Ukrainian art. So you see that it's painted in, it's called Petrikivka style. And there is also animation around it. And we had 12 people in my team, and all of them are volunteers, obviously. And 2 of them wrote code for the animation and put it in the open source. So we GitHub everything we can. But why am I mentioning that? I'm mentioning that because it's just one of the examples of a project that you build with the help of community. There's no money involved in that. I mean, we've just put our own money, we fundraise. But while you're working on the project, there's so many people who came out to help us, and it brought the community together. And so that's an important part. Why? Because if I have to answer the question how to plan a roadmap in open source, my quick answer is build a community. All right, I'm done. See you later. Here are the 3 examples that I'm going to give you. Also, a disclaimer. After this hour, you're not going to be like, okay, now I have all the solutions. You'll just have my perspective from my experience, and that's pretty much it. I had these 3 projects. One is Jest Serverless. Do you know anything about serverless? Jest Serverless is, it's kind of a pretty interface where you don't have to manage everything in AWS, which, if you know, it's pretty complex. There's a whole bunch of different things, and the more stuff you add, the more expensive it gets. And you can miss on things. With Jest Serverless, you can install it from GitHub. It's open source, of course. And pretty much you can build a website in like 2 seconds. You can write an API, super easy. And it's in GitHub. The problem is that serverless is so not well known that it's a very small community, and it's hard to push it and get contributors. So another thing that we were doing would come to meetups that are serverless meetups. It's 35 people, same people, and you can't push it to the same folks, right? So that was our mistake. We didn't get anybody to contribute for a while. Then we decided to, okay, let's go to universities and startups. And that's how we actually got traction. People learned more, and we were offering these online free courses, so that helped a lot. So then we started having more contributions. So that was good. Still lots of things to do in Jazz, but that's one of the examples. The second example, so Next was different. So Next, the cool thing about it is that it was, and it still is, a contribution of different big companies. T-Mobile, Intel, Microsoft, and it's also built within Sawtooth Hyperledger. So really cool. The good thing is that it's open source first. What it means is that none of the code was written internally. Everything started from scratch, and everything started in GitHub. Awesome. The other good thing is that you have this chat channel, so anybody can join. Since it was open source first, we didn't have anything in Rally or Jira, whatever you guys are using, no backlog. So the backlog should have been here. So we started with that. But the project in GitHub is, if I show you right here, it doesn't have a lot of features. It's like 4 different columns. You can't do much about it. And in fact, I met with GitHub guys, and they said, you know what, this is not our main niche. We're not going to be doing product management there. Okay, so we had to figure out what are we going to do. So another learning thing on next project is ZenHub. This is a pretty cool little plugin, and you can actually have a better backlogging, and you can sort of build a roadmap. So that helped us a lot. On the documentation part, these guys were also better and more clear on the rules of the game. You know, when you get into the repo and start trying to understand how to contribute and stuff like that. All right, the third one was and is PacBot, and that one I currently work on as well, partially, but still as a product manager. So this one, here's the story of PacBot. First of all, what is PacBot? PacBot is a policy as compliance bot. It's a management tool. You put it on AWS or on top of Azure or whatever, and anything that you own in cloud, it will monitor and pretty much secure. If there is an S3 bucket that is open to internet, it will block it, or you would need to put an exception. Everything we do is actually in GitHub. Our communication is with external customers is through Gitter, and the rules of the game are pretty defined in the wiki pages. In fact, the roadmap can also be found here. All right, so we post the roadmap as is. We don't hide anything, and so you can find everything here. So let's dive into PacBot and the rules. Here's how we do it, and this is just how I do it, right? You might have way better way to do things. So first, we talk to stakeholders. We have internal stakeholders within T-Mobile, and we have external stakeholders who are in GitHub. In fact, right now we have about 30 different companies who installed PacBot. It's like Volkswagen, Deutsche Telekom, a whole bunch of different big companies and medium size as well. So they contribute often. And the reason why they contribute is, to be honest, monitoring and securing of cloud currently is like a big niche, and there's a huge need for that. Therefore, we have a lot of customers that externally as well. Anyway, so we need to talk to our external customers. That's where we talk to them through Gitter, and also they know that the rule is, you can always submit a pull request, right? And then we also have our internal customers, and we set up quarterly roadmap plannings. So we have 4 per year. The way I collect everything, and that's just my personal preference, right? I use a tool, Aha. And it looks like this. It has a lot of different features that I, as a product manager, really, really love. First of all, I don't have to go into Rally much. I don't even have to spend that much time in GitHub, because what I do, it integrates with any sort of backlog, whether it's Jira or Visual Studio or whatever. So then I collect all the information. I can write down a feature here, and I can just push it to wherever I want. And then I can build my own roadmap, and I can PDF it and just throw it in the presentation, in the slide, and so I don't have to do a whole bunch of reporting, which is so nice. And then the other cool thing is that I have this idea board, and let me walk you through idea board. Any internal customer can just dump in their idea in this board. And yeah, so you log in, and you can set it up the way you want it. You can, so far, if you have a Gmail account or T-Mobile account, you can log in, and then you add your idea, and we have specific time that we give you to vote on different ideas. So you can see there's votes, right? And you give me all these details about the feature. Now, I don't actually walk in there. I walk in here, and I can see all the ideas. And there's my list. And so you can see right now which ones are shipped, which ones need review, and things like that. So one of the cool things about this tool is also that once it's an idea and we discussed it, I can promote it to feature. Now, what is the time when we discuss it? Let's go back to this visual. So, okay, so you have the time when we tell you, okay, right now is Q3, right? Q4 starts October 1st. My next sprint roadmap planning is September 26th. I sent out an invite like a month ago already. I let them know that this is the link for idea board if you forgot. Please send your information or your requests, and we'll discuss it. So I usually go back and forth and discuss if there's not enough information, or I can also cover that during the roadmap planning. I hate meetings, so I keep them usually 2 hours, and I make them 1. Because I hate meetings. So I try to get all the information, the sooner the better. And so when we collect those features, I also talk to my director, my stakeholders internally, and the tech team. So we decide, okay, these are the 3-4 features that are like top. We just have to do that regardless, right? So we have that. Then we add the internal features that are needed to be done. And then we add, as a priority 3, our external. And a lot of times, the external and internal are similar or the same. So it works hand in hand. So anyway, so then after I had this discussion, now I'm ready for the roadmap planning session. I have like 10, 12 different features, maybe more. And I know that my team per quarter will do about 960 story points, right? So I break it down. I know my percentage, because this is like the rules of the game, and this is something that we came up with that works, right? We may change it later, but we are clear on the percentage. So, okay, 960, we already went through different features, we sized them. Of course, there's a lot of guesstimation, but still, it's better than none. And then we go into the roadmap meeting. We discuss all the different features. We want more details. We cover that. And then we say, thank you. We're going to give you a week to vote on your ideas, and then inject that into our roadmap planning roadmap. So we did do that. Week later, we combine all the features that are external, internal, and our technical debt or something that is needs to be done. After that, the roadmap is done. It's all in AHA. I just PDF it, and I send it out both internally and on GitHub. So that's my way of doing it. Now, I will give you a quick conclusion of things. Yeah, go ahead.
What is a PI?
Pull request. Mm-hmm. So you have issues, right, in GitHub or pull request. So in a nutshell, there's a few things that I learned through these different 3 projects that I would suggest, I would keep for myself for sure. First of all, have one source. Do not duplicate work. Second of all, have a very clear communication. Just set the rules and expectations right off the bat so that when a person comes into your GitHub repo, they understand how to contribute, what are you planning for the next quarter, and where you guys are heading. So this way, they're not going to just fork it out and leave you because they think, well, I don't know what they're going to be building, or maybe they won't be aware of what's going on. And this way, you don't lose the contributor, because contributors are people who are going to support you and help you build better product. The third one is, of course, also community. You have to interact with them, and you have to see what they want, right? Some teams may just kind of say, okay, well, you guys are building whatever you're building. We're not interested in that, and just focus on the internal. Then you, again, lose all of that work that could be invested in your product. There's something else, number 4, that I forget. maybe it's not important. But yeah, so those are the things that I learned that I think when you build your product that you should focus on. Oh, the last one is be wise about your tools. Because what I really hate is when I start contributing to a project and they have like, okay, well, there's AHA here, and then there's a Zen Hub there, and then there's documentation in this place and in that place, and then also a backlog here and backlog there. So it's bringing the confusion. So be very clear, try to keep it in one place, one source, and I think you'll be good. That's it. That's all I got.